Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I want to share with you today this simple card. I'm calling it a Festive Foliage Christmas to Remember card. It is using the Festive Foliage background stamp. This can be found on page 90 of our annual catalog, as well as the Christmas to Remember stamp set that can also be found as a bundle on page 19. The bundle comes with the beautiful Christmas pine cone dies. There's a set of 2. Cut out gorgeous detailed pine cones and pine branches. I'm also using the seasonal labels dies. Those are found on page 18. These are both in the mini catalog, our July to December mini catalog. And then I'm using, and by the way, all of these supplies you can find on my blog, justalittle.ink.com, and you can purchase any of them on my Stampin' Up website, justalittle.ink.stampinup.net. You'll need a half a sheet of our very vanilla thick cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. You'll need a piece of our Evening Evergreen cardstock. This is one of our newer in colors, cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. And you're going to start with a piece of very vanilla cardstock that's also 4 inches by 5 1/4, but we will trim it down. You'll need a scrap piece of Mary Merlot cardstock, 2 3/4 inch square, and then we'll cut it out using those seasonal labels dies after we emboss on it. And then you'll want a piece of Sahara sand cardstock, and we're going to cut out this long skinny label with it. And so you just need a scrap that's large enough to do that. And so let's begin and show you how easy this is. I've also cut some of the pine cones, one of the more detailed one, using gold foil paper that's been backed with the adhesive sheet so that it's sticky on the back. Makes it easy to adhere it down. And also some of the beautiful gold holly leaves. These are super, super thin, glue down really easy. So we're going to want some of those as well. So let's begin. I'm going to use my Stamparatus because I find it's the easiest with these large backgrounds. And I told you I'm using the a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece. And I'm going to come in, I think I didn't come in all the way. Trying to look and see what I thought here. I think I came down an inch. So I came down 1 inch and in 1 inch. And I'm going to just take one of my magnets and stick it just barely up here on the corner. And this is the reason I've told you a little larger for this very vanilla piece. I come in here then and do the same thing down here. Just barely grab it. Open up my Evening Evergreen ink. And I'm going to just come across. Looks like I could use a little more down here. Okay. I'm going to come in. Hopefully you're seeing this on the camera. Looks like you are. You need to give it a good pressure. Sometimes I need to stand when I do this. We'll see how things are looking. Depending on, see, I've got my magnet was a little bit in the way there. It might still be just a little bit in the way. That's the beauty, though, of the Stamparatus is that you can keep coming back down. We're going to ink just a little. See if we can get the right inking. Oh, yeah. There we go. So we can pull this one off. pull it out. We're going to turn around and use the other side here to kind of show you. I'm going to, on the inside, get this where I want it. So I want to have on the inside, we're going to ink. And this is just a greeting to go on the inside. It says, "May this be a Christmas to remember and cherish." Come out. We'll just set this all aside. That takes care of all of the evening evergreen stamping. So then I mentioned you want to trim this down. So I'm going to pull out my paper trimmer. Get it turned in just the right way. What I found was it's best to kind of come in and grab just the edge. So if I come and grab about 1/8 of an inch, not quite perhaps. It's like about 1/16 off of one end. I'll turn it around. Grab about 1/16 of an inch off of this end. And then the same thing on the other sides. You just basically want it to get trimmed down to the, so that you just have the stamped part showing. Okay. When you have that, then you can attach your layer. I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. I love Stampin' Seal. Took me a little bit to get used to using it, but once you get used to not checking it off, I have found it to be a great adhesive. Okay, so line all of that up. And then we're going to start assembling. I'm going to fold over. I've already scored this. I told you at 4 1/4, so I'm going to fold it over. Grab my bone folder. Like so. Set this aside. And I can attach on the front because I don't have any other layers that have to be on top of here. So I'm going to come in the front. Let's just center it on. That piece of evening evergreen just sets it off so nicely. And I thought these two sets just came together real well. Then I've got my little label from the Christmas or the seasonal labels dies. I'm going to bring this in right about here. Don't want it to be down, pretty much in the top third. Okay. Then I told you I have the piece of gold foil cut with these beautiful, very detailed pine cones. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in over here and I'm going to snip off some of the pine branches. A couple of them from up here. And I'm going to take a couple. Now you could probably even add the pine cones, to be honest. I don't know why you couldn't. Whatever you want to cut off. Just a couple here and there. You have a lot more to use. This part I already got the adhesive out. So I'm going to come in. I want it to kind of overlay. Is this already had some off? No. So on this, I'm going to pull out my take your pick tool. I keep on the other end my pokey part, so I can help get that off. So I'm just going to get enough to where I get a couple branches coming off. Like so. I think I didn't get it all off. Well, we'll catch that later. I need to do the same thing on this side. Adhesive sheets are in 2-inch strips. So like, yeah, so here it didn't come off on this side, so I need to grab on here. I can keep from sticking my fingers to it. Some on this side as well. There we go. Now we've got it all off. So I want to put this piece down here. Like so. Set this out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and I want to ink up with Versamark ink. I've got the Friends Like You Make the Season Special. I'm going to ink it up onto my scrap piece of Mary Merlot. Stamp down. And in the metallic collection of our embossing powders, the metallics, is gold. I like to keep my powders in tubs because it's just easier for me to dip them in. You'll dip it into your embossing powder. Make sure not to touch it until you've heated everything, because it doesn't set until you heat it with a heat tool. So when you do, you'll end up with having like this. It makes it so much more shiny. Embossing is by far the biggest wow, and yet the simplest. And then when you cut it out using that die, you get this shape. And so I'm going to come and I want to use my dimensionals. I found I'm out of all of my regular dimensionals, so time to put in another order. But these minis work as well. So I'm going to come in, stick some in here. I just need a little bit to pop up. I'm going to pull off the pieces, the backing pieces. It just lifts it up, which makes it so nice. So I want to come in, I want to split my distance right to left and kind of center this on this other label. It comes up like so. And I thought this was really pretty, very simple, and you certainly could stop here. But again, I loved these beautiful gold holly leaves. And I think adding a few, you don't want to put too many, but I'm going to use some of the smaller ones here. And you need some of our multi-purpose liquid glue. You could probably also use some of the, let's see which side is what. You could use glue dots. I think that would work as well. So I'm just going to come in. I want to put a couple of them down here. Hold it for a second or two and it'll stick. And then again on the back side. I'm going to overlap these just a little so I get the two of them together, which is commonly seen. And then I'm going to put one up on the opposite corner. Put in here, like so. And it just takes a second for it to set. And then to finish it all off, I'm going to use some of the gold metallic pearls. These are also found in our annual catalog. And I want to just put them in a couple places where I see some dots. So I'm just going to put one up here, kind of scatter them out. Again, I like threes, and so you'll find me doing this quite a bit where I'm just putting them in groups of 3. And just like that, you've got a fairly simple, but I think elegant Christmas card. So thanks again for joining me. If you have not liked my YouTube channel and subscribed, I would so appreciate it if you would do so. Please like and share and make a comment below. I thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next time. Happy stamping.